I always tell people the most valuable lesson I got from my mentor, Jim Rohn, was I asked my father, worked 2 jobs. We were always broke. We had no money for food. And we lived in a community we moved to, which was, I thought they were all rich and we were on the other side of the tracks. It was a lower middle class, but compared to where we lived before, these people seem rich compared to us. And I just didn't understand it. And Jim said to me, Tony, it's not about the value of your soul, it's about the value of you in the marketplace. And your father's skills are not that valuable. He was an underground parking attendant, and he would take people's ticket and make change. For leaders, what I always tell them is, it's you first. It starts with you, and it starts with your psychology. 80% of growing a business, if you look at what the chokehold is on a business, it's always the leader. And 80% of that chokehold is the psychology, and 20% is the mechanics. I mean, people in this room know the mechanics and strategies beyond what anybody on earth knows in their category. So it's really about you being in the state where you execute. I say to people, you gotta participate in your own rescue. You've got to retool yourself. The idea that Bernie Sanders has of providing free education sounds wonderful, but the education he wants to do is community college. There are no skill sets in community colleges today, for the most part, that are gonna prepare you for the economy or a job that's there. So what is that gonna do? You're just gonna waste more money, more time. We need to retool ourselves. The government's not gonna do it for you.
Today, what creates marketing is when you don't just market, but you add value to people. You do something, you teach them, you give them an insight, you give something valuable that costs them nothing, and then they look to you as an expert. They look to you as a person that adds value. They want you to supply them more information, more experience, more products, more services.
People say they don't care. I think what they really mean is, I don't let it stop me. I've dealt with presidents, the countries, I've dealt with the top celebrities. Everybody cares. I care. But I don't care at the level where I'm willing to modify me. I don't care at the level where I'm only gonna do it to try to please somebody, because I know they'll turn something positive into a negative. They're so damn fearful. Whenever people say to me, by the way, that I'm skeptical or I'm pessimistic, I say, come on, let's be honest, you're gutless. It doesn't take any courage to say nothing's gonna work, because what you're really saying is, I'm afraid to try, because what if I get my hopes up and I'm disappointed? What if I try and I fail and then I look bad? So the hipster approach is to not giving a shit is a way to have a terrible life. I think you do give a shit. I think you do care, but I think you just don't let it stop you. And I think the way that gets done is you find a mission that you value more than your fear. Many of us will do things for our children we would never do for ourselves, right? I think that's the beauty of human beings. We'll do things for people we love even more than ourselves. That's what makes us human. I don't get up every day when I'm exhausted or tired or burnt out, my body hurts. I don't get up because, oh, this feels so wonderful. I get up because I have a mission. I have something that excites me. I have something that keeps me up late, gets me up early, and makes me feel alive.
The ego is not worth defending. And we all spend a lot of our time defending this thing that says, well, I am what I do have, and I have to get more things, and if I don't have as much as they do, then they're gonna, and we go through our lives doing all of this stuff, and what it does is it brings us to a point where we no longer have something, or our reputation is gone, or taken away from us, or somebody steals it, and what happens to us? Or when we retire, or, I no longer can do things, so now people get over a certain age, and they just feel like, I've declined and so on. There's nothing in the DNA that says you have to decline ever in your life. You don't have to decline, and your DNA is over 600,000 years old.
So then why do we have it, though? Why do we have it?
We have it because it works. It works at getting ourselves believing that we're better than other people instead of just allowing ourselves to be free. And it's like Taoism, the Tao teaches us to unpeel the onion, unpeel layers, to get to the essence of the Tao is emptiness. Getting to that place of emptiness, that's like the supreme place to get to, where you're just empty of all of that. And then you're free. And then guess what? All of the things that you wanted so desperately when you were so ego-dominated before begin to show up in your life in larger and larger and larger amounts.
When my career was just getting going, and I was a speaker, which, by the way, was not my chosen career. I fell into it. There is I've forgotten the name of the organization. I think it's called the Meeting Planners Association of America, something like that, where basically all the people from all the corporations and conferences who hire the speakers, that's their job, they have their own conference. And so to get invited to this thing is it's like American Idol. If you do well, you get a career for the rest of your life because everyone in the room will want to hire you for their conferences for the rest of years. And if you bomb, they all know who you are and you will have no career, right? Like that's, so like,
I see where this is going.
I'm like, I've done this a bunch now. I'm relaxed on stage now. I got this, and like, this is one of those events that makes every speaker nervous. And it's in this cavernous place. Ironically, it was like the worst venue. It was like, it echoed. So you'd stand on the stage talking, you could hear yourself. Anyway, doing my talk, I'm doing Start With Why. This is back in the early days. I got this, done this a million times, and don't know what happened. I lost my train of thought. Okay, I know this. I've been through this before. So I went quiet. You usually find my place, and then I pick up again. Like, I know how to do this. I've lost my train of thought before. I went quiet, and nothing happened. Nothing came into my mind. I had nothing. And now I panicked. And as soon as the panic sets in, now all rational thought disappears. And now I start sweating, and my heart starts pounding, and I got nothing. And I look at my pad, and I look at the audience, and I look at my pad, and I look at the audience. And then I turn to them and say, have you ever had that feeling where you forget what you're talking about and everything collapses, your heart's in your stomach, your heart's pounding, you start sweating, your hands get clammy and sheer panic, and they're all smiling. I said, I'm having that right now.
Oh.
I said, and I gotta tell you, it feels fantastic. I said, because I do this so much, sometimes I forget to be present. And I said, right now, I feel completely alive. I said, I feel totally present and totally with this. It's as much as as crazy it is, this is amazing. I said, okay, I need someone's help. Can somebody please tell me what I was just talking about? Because I do not know what I was talking about. And they all erupted in applause. I got more applause for that than for the actual speech. Funny. But the point is that in every cloud there is a silver lining. In everything that happens to us, there is goodness.
It actually of the 11 major risk factors that steal your mind, if you're overweight, you now have 5 risk factors. Wow. The fat on your body is not your friend. It stores toxins, so that's one risk factor. It increases inflammation, that's another risk factor. I published 2 studies that show as your weight goes up, the blood flow to your brain goes down, which should scare the fat off anyone. That's 3. And it takes healthy testosterone, belly fat, and it flips it. It transforms it into unhealthy, cancer-promoting forms of estrogen. That's 4. And then being overweight is 5. And when you're overweight, your blood sugar often goes up as well. And that's part of being overweight. So it's just like when I first figured it out, I always carried like 20 extra pounds. I lost the weight because I'm not going to shrink my brain, right? I'm never going to do anything I know purposefully to hurt myself. Why? And it's like, oh, you're too uptight. It's like, no, it's because I love myself. Why would I ever do something to hurt me unless I was sort of an idiot? And I know that sounds harsh, but now that you know, we need to be eating in a way that's calorie smart and loaded with vegetables. There is a linear correlation to the number of fruits and vegetables you eat a day and your level of happiness.
Every behavior is followed by some kind of outcome. This is just basic cause and effect. And if the immediate outcome is favorable, is enjoyable, you have a reason to repeat it in the future. It's kind of like
donuts.
Yeah, exactly, right?
repeating.
It's like that example. If you feel good, if you feel satisfied right after you do something, then it's like this positive emotional signal, and it's like, yeah, I should do this again.
Yeah.
So you can see this actually, business is a really interesting example with this. There are a lot of products, and some of the most successful products have some type of immediate satisfaction that is layered into them. So toothpaste is a very common example. There's no reason a toothpaste needs to taste like mint, but it does because the minty flavor and the refreshingness of it, it gives your mouth this clean feel. It's more satisfying, so you have a reason to do it again in the future. I heard an interesting one recently about car manufacturers, that some of them are adding a fake guttural roar to the car or the truck when you press the accelerator, because it just adds to the actual natural sound of the engine, so it makes it more satisfying to step on the gas and to drive the car. So there are a variety of examples like this, but if you can add, the key is it needs to be immediate, right? So like this is, in the book I refer to this as the cardinal rule of behavior change, which is behaviors that are immediately rewarded get repeated. Behaviors that are immediately punished get avoided. And it's really about the speed of how quickly you feel successful. If it feels good, you have a reason to do it again.
Is that why video games do so well?
Video games are masters at this. They're masters at it. So they're masters actually at a variety of aspects related to habit formation. So one is they're really good at this immediate satisfaction. There are all kinds of things. You're actually constantly getting feedback in a video game. Even if you're just running, you hear the pitter patter of the steps. That's
gratifying.
The jingles of like picking up another power up or seeing a kill or something like that. Whatever the game is, you're always getting constant feedback. Sound, things that are on screen, they're really good at dripping that out. Watching the score increase in the top corner, that is immediate feedback. So they have all these different ways of making you feel satisfied, and when you see that progress, you have a reason to continue in the future. This is one of the most effective forms of immediate satisfaction is progress. As soon as you feel progress, you have a reason to continue. It feels really good to see that you're making headway.